And it seems that Ghana has a new coach. And African news, for once, have shown pity on my sleeping patterns. We're going to talk about this here, guys. Welcome to the channel, Canadian African content. As you would know, as it seems that the Ghana Football Association have selected Carlos Queiroz. Yeah, Queiroz as the coach for Ghana to take them through the World Cup, which means he'll have 3 games, which is interesting, before the World Cup begins with the all important tilt versus Panama, which I think the winner of that game has the inside track to possibly make it out of that group with tough matchups against Croatia and England in their group. I think both those two teams are looking at this. But with this Portuguese manager coming in, there's a lot of thoughts. And we're going to try to go through this as well as we can. We'll talk about some of his previous stops, talk about the style of play that you can possibly anticipate with him here. But furthermore, talk about, does this elevate Ghana's floor or their ceiling when it comes to the World Cup this summer? I think that'll be something we'll cover at the end. But to give you the complete press release here, we'll throw it over here and give this to you, which is the Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association, working with all key stakeholders, has appointed Carlos Queiroz as the head coach of the senior national team, the BlackStars. And again, Carlos, if I butcher your name, I apologize, sir. I am tired. The former Real Madrid, Manchester United, Portugal, Iran, and Iran coaches will lead Ghana's campaign at the 2026 FIFA World Cup in Mexico, Canada, and the United States. Queiroz boasts an extensive World Cup pedigree. He led South Africa to qualification 2002 World Cup, guided Portugal to the knockout phases in 2010, and took charge of both Iran in the 2014 and the 2018 tournaments. He's also held coaching roles in Egypt, Oman, Japan, Qatar, and is expected to bring his wealth of experience to bear with the World Cup. Coach begins work immediately to prepare the BlackStars for the tournament, which kicks off June 11th. Ghana plays its first match against Panama on June 17th in Toronto, Canada, before facing England and Croatia and other group matchups. And so begins this latest run when it comes to him. What do I think of the hire? You know what? I won't lie. I thought they were going to do something very, GFA of it. And by GFA of it, I mean, I thought they would have just said, well, we don't have as much time. Let's just hire Schaefer's and then we'll go with the guy who knows the team. We saw something similar to what they did with Chris Houghton and Ota Addo, both coaches who are no longer with the program. So I thought they would do something very ad hoc, and it's very GFA of them to not know what the plan would be for them if you're going to get rid of a coach who you're going to bring in that sense. And so, with that being said, I don't know what to expect. There's a reality when you look at this team that they are injured, and we don't know what version of them we're going to get. And I think that will be the key thing to truly evaluate and see what they are capable of doing at this World Cup. But with a coach like the coach that we have here, what can we kind of glean from it? And I think for me, there's two big sections to take a look at. His time with Iran, which I think is a very good starting point, depending on how talented you think this Ghana side is. And then his time with Portugal, if again on the flip side, for how talented you think the side might be. Right? We'll go to the Portugal side first. He had 28 matches with them. as we can see here. Oh, thanks, courtesy of Transfer Market. 28 matches. He had 15 wins, 9 draws, and 4 losses with a talented Portuguese side all the way up until qualifiers, where then he fell. Last game with Portugal fell to Norway 1-0, and that ended in a 4-4 draw to Cyprus. But before that, you saw them have a solid World Cup, but out in the round of 16, 2010, if you remember, that was the Cote d'Ivoire, Brazil, and North Korea group. A group famously where North Korea only lost to Brazil 2 or 1 or 2-0, and then they brought in the cameras, and then Portugal said no, shut the cameras off. And so this becomes interesting in terms of, with a talented squad. Okay, they played a little bit more. I remember that Brazil Portugal game was very cagey, not much coming through on it. And I think if you are of the mindset that the Black Stars need a coach that can possibly push them a little bit more offensively on the ball, you look at their Portugal aspect and you say, hey, this team was good against lower competition. I mean, you look at the losses. They had a loss to Denmark, a loss to Brazil. This is back 2008, 2010. So if you're looking at that from that standpoint, say, okay, but with talented teams, yeah, some talented teams were able to kind of push them a bit, but you would think that at the end of the day, they still could go and play offensively. Now, if you are of the mindset that simply getting your results and moving on, if you're of the mindset that defense is one of the bigger issues for Ghana, and I think you're right to think that anyway. I don't know why my camera hasn't been on here, but hello, guys. Here we are. Hello, people of Agrabah. Then you have to go to his time with Iran. And his time with Iran, he has 100 matches with that squad in 2 stints. Right? And we'll throw this here again for you. So in 100 matches, 61 wins, 26 draws, 13 losses. Very much not many high scoring games unless they played a team that truly allowed them, i.e., Guam. Oh, we're so sorry, Guam. You did so much. That was for Asian qualification. But if you're looking this time, we go the first run from 2011 on, right? There's not many unless they're playing. Okay, there were a big game against Pasai for the most part. Solid defensive, low scoring games. Draws versus Qatar, Jordan, wins versus Indonesia. Again, this is back in 2011 to 12. And then we get to 2014 at that World Cup. They drew Nigeria, lost 1-0 to Iran, to Argentina, and then fell 3-1 to Bosnia. Again, results, keeping the score lines in focus. Tough to play defensively. The other thing you're starting to see trending wise is a lot of 4-1, 4-1s, and 4-2, 3-1s coming in. Even when they would play teams 6-6, 4-4-2s. They were shutting down the game and they were being defensively sound. Right? And so that ran up to 2014, 15, 16, and all this 2018. That group was very much a group of death, looking at it. Iran beat Morocco on a own goals on that first game, and then fell 1-0 to Spain, and then 1-1 draw versus Portugal. And so they finished that group with 4 points, and then they weren't able to really move on from there. Had a few more friendlies before his last game coaching with them was at the Asian Cup, falling the semifinals 3-0 to Japan. And so if you're looking at Ghana and thinking, I think it's defensive work that they're going to need, okay. You look at the Iran side and say, well, this is what we need. This coach can shut it down and play with it. And I think for me, I've always looked at Ghana as a side where I would say, I think they are built for a mid block or a high pressing side, which then turns to the conversation of, do they have the right personnel to be playing that stylistically in terms of pressing, in terms of turnovers, playing the transition. I think they have players to play in the transition. I don't know if stylistically they are that. Because when you look at Ghana traditionally, they've been, for the most part, a team that wants to be on the ball. And so I think you can be both excited if you want to reach deep into that bag and say, well, coach, Coach Carlos's time with Portugal tells you, well, they could be offensively solid, right? And if you think defensive issues and defensive woes are their issue, then you say, well, the time with Iran says he'll have certainly a more he'll certainly have a more talented offensive side than maybe he would have had with Iran, and maybe that allows him to play a little bit more. The reality is they have 2, maybe 3 friendlies left before the World Cup starts. And so will he have enough time and for an offensive principles? I don't think so. I don't think offensive principles within that time he's going to have time to do it. So I think this team is going to very much look like a side that says we're going to low block, mid block to low block you, and all our chances are going to come on the transition in the counter, and that's how we're going to get these points and move on. Which at a tournament like this, surviving and advancing, it's not the worst thing. That that's not the worst thing. It may not be what some Black Stars fans want. They may not want to see a team that just sits back and defends, but to get through a tournament where you have 2 strong offensive sides and a side in Panama that you can't take lightly. Again, I'm in the region. You cannot overlook Panama here because Ghana has not done enough more recently to truly to be truly picked as favorites, I think, against Panama. If you want to go off the conversation of, hey, they are the they're in CAF and CAF is better than CONCACAF, I can give you that. But in terms of the form of their play, I think stylistically they're both kind of the same side. I think one is more talented. So I think the question will be, can you convince one side to not to be one of those things? I think for Ghana it might be, yeah, maybe we do want to push a side like Panama to have more of the possession and move forward. But we've seen Panama against tougher offensive teams in CONCACAF where they've just decided, you know what, we're going to defend, and as the game draws later and later, now we'll start taking our chances. And they've proven to be successful in that type of a way. And so with Coach Carlos, I I think the big question for me is how does he approach this? And I think based off of the time that he has, it's a lot easier to streamline and just say, let's have good defensive principles. It might be ugly, but it might get the results you need. And I think if that's the approach they go for, I think that might be the better option for them. Because I don't know if, and not to say that they've been swashbuckling, but against Austria, they weren't in that game at all. Against Germany, they had better moments, but still the same type of a conversation. And that's right. Does it improve their ceiling? No. I don't think Coach Carlos improves their ceiling per se. I do think their floor, if he's able to get in and truly solidify the defense, I think their floor gets very their floor has the most potential. I would agree there, Steph. What an explosive turn of events. I I didn't think they would go that far, but that's what it is. And if we look at, for instance, for Ghana, the players that they've had and they brought in, especially last year. I mean, we can look at this year because you can't look at Otto Addo's picks solely, but I mean that's all we can, right? If we look at this goalkeeping wise, probably doesn't change that, which means you're probably going to deal with Benjamin Sare and net, whether you think he's good or not. I think you end up with there. Not having Mohamed Salisu, I think, hurts them a lot because, again, I think this team was built for a back three, and they could have done well with a back three, but we'll have to wait and see. And this is last year's call up, so keep that in mind. Jonas Ajete could be a nice call up. Jerome Opoku had moments. Stefan Ambrosius didn't have the best of times, the best of call ups when it came there. But looking at names, to me, I mean, if you're somehow able to get a fit Tarek Lamptey, again, still more. I wonder if that puts him more on a bubble. I think if he's healthy and Otado is still in charge, I think Tarek Lamptey is probably a quicker choice. I think everything starts and has to be figured out here, right? Do you get an informed? Can you get a better formed Thomas Partey? I mean, for me, I'd say I don't know. I don't know if you can guarantee that. Can you get a Salih Samed who is in better form and can contribute and can defend well, right? Ibrahim Suleimana, same thing. Young can go. Elisha Wusu, that's a question that we have. I think for that, especially if he plays more, we've seen with his 4-4-2s, they've been double sixes, right? Which means where you're going to put players that can be a little bit more pushing. Like Majid Ashimiru could be an interesting name, but I don't know if you trust them there as a defender. But again, if you're assuming this is a 4-4-2, sure, not much space. But if you're assuming this is a 4-1-4-1, which I think it'll be, or some version of a 4-5-1 with one striker, I think you can litter the midfield with. I agree. I think if you do that, then a lot of the midfielders become interesting. I wondered for someone like Kofi Tre, who just got back onto the pitch playing with the U23s in Germany. I wondered if he could be fit enough for it to be worth calling up. I don't know anymore if you're dealing with a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-5-1 of sorts. Right? For Kwesi Sibo, you would probably think maybe. Caleb Urenchi, I wonder now as a it wouldn't hurt as a player who is probably a better midfielder than a fullback. It's gonna be a 9-1. Nah, be generous. It'll be a 10, just a straight 10, a 5-5, to be honest. And I do agree with this. I think realistically, I think they're closer to parking the bus than they are really pushing forward as a offensive side, right? And you look at some of the other names. How many of you would argue that the strength of this Ghana side are their wing play? How does that fit into a team that needs to be defensively solid? Do they do things like drop Antoine Semenyo as a wing back or a fullback, so he's deeper into the role, but then he has a little bit more to run through? All of this, it just again, this is last year's numbers, and Ernest Long was starting to come back. There's a lot where you look at it and say, offensively, I wonder where that fits with a coach who has spent the last little bit parking the bus and getting results that way. It'll be very interesting what type of wingers he feels can really push forward. And then striker wise, look, I'm always going to say it annoys me, but hey, if you're a striker known as having great, defensive work rate, like a Jordan Ayew, like in a 5-4-1 or a 4-5-1, he can just sit there. I would still argue that someone a little bit more fleet of foot would do better for someone like a Brandon Thomas Asante. But again, he didn't get opportunities with a coach that you would assume would be a little bit more offensively proactive. So I wonder, you're looking at those players where the opportunity comes. We don't know what the rest of the staff is right now. And so in this type of situation, I always go back to the things that I worry about, which is, does he get to pick his roster, or does the GFA say, here are your 26, mold them how you want? And does that mean, not to say that Jerry doesn't deserve to be there, but do they say, okay, we want more local versus someone else? Do we want someone who we want to really showcase versus someone else? Kingsley Schindler, like, I'm preparing myself when it comes to Ghana for a more defensive side, right? And even if we look at players in that were picked this year, right, for their two friendlies, right? Again, I think probably you still have Benjamin Asare, Joseph. I wonder also familiarity. How much does that play a role into it? Right? We saw Jordan Ayew, we saw Dan Ajay not get too many opportunities. Abdul Fatawu got some run. I would almost argue if they're gonna go defensive, they have two options. They either have to put Antoine Semenyo as their striker and have him be able to drop back and him be the outlet, or you drop Semenyo as a fullback or a wingback. You put Caleb Irinci into the middle and you try to figure out what your options are because this, off of first reaction, this feels like, hey, they can go. And they do, if they lean into this and they can defend. To be the most optimistic, I think it does open up the opportunity for them to actually. I think they're a better mid block counter transition team than they are possession right now because they don't have anyone who can carry, right? Especially now that it feels like Kudus Mama will not be there. Once you know Kudus isn't there, and I said this in the last video on Ghana, this Ghana side, as they were built before they moved off of Otoado, felt gave me a lot of 2014 Brazil vibes. Not in they're a good team, but in terms of Kudus is Neymar, and he covers up a lot because he can carry the ball in transition. And as long as they have the ball and they can win the ball, they can create dangerous transition opportunities and they have good wings and players overall. But he'd be the engine. Without that, they need someone else, which is why I wondered if they would have rushed back a Kofi Tre who just got onto the pitch. But they need something else. They didn't have a single in their European tour. So against Austria and against Germany, they didn't have a single true attacking midfielder, right? Kwesi Sibo played more in the CDM partnership with Thomas Partey. Caleb Irenchi was more of a fullback. I think he could be a player who you can maybe look into as possibly pushing forward there. But Kamaldeen was injured, well, didn't get too many minutes. Bonsuba didn't get too many minutes. Antoine started it and created what he could. Then we didn't see much, and then Jordan Ayew at times was just chilling in the wing back role, but he was that roaming 10. I don't think that really does work for you if you're trying to defend in that sense. So I wonder what this does. I know because at some point there was reports that they reached back out to Eddie Nketiah, but that didn't turn up anything because he got injured. So what you gonna do with that? But it's interesting. I think for me, I'm intrigued by how Coach Carlos wants to take this. I feel like this is going to be a team that says we're going to prioritize minimizing goals, especially having an England and a Croatia, especially the England, right? Because I think 4 points gets out of this group. And I think that's a very key thing to know, especially if you look at what Ghana did and some other teams did at past World Cups. I think 4 points gets you out of the group, which means for Ghana and conversely for Panama, you need a W in that game. And you have to go out and then get a draw somewhere else or hope that you can balance and make your way through there. But I think that is the key. Well, let me pull up points because I was looking at this yesterday before this was even a possibility for that. But if we look at this, teams that would have made it through, if again there was a 32 teams, but if we look at top third place spots, right, a win and a draw will do it. A win and a draw in third place will do it for you. And that could have changed so much for teams. Like as we pull it up here, all right. Ecuador with 4 points would have had a great shot to get out of their group. Iran needed a draw somewhere, right? And that was the US game. Right? They got a draw in that game. They're out, they're going. Right? Because before that it was 3-2, and then yeah, nothing, and then one. And so if they got that, they could have really pushed through. Mexico, another side, 4 points. You're seeing this? They went out, they showed well. That's what will matter. A draw and a win. Germany, that group from Group E, they could have pushed through with a draw and a win. And they got their win at the end, but needed a goal difference. Belgium would have made it through this group, and that could have looked different, right? Cameroon, another side, who got a win versus Brazil in their final game, but then also were able to get a draw versus Serbia, right? Draws and wins go a long way. And then Group H, right? Ghana just needed a draw, and at one point they were at the draw, and then they gave up that game. 4 points will do it, which means can you be defensively solid to get that done? And I think for them, for Ghana specifically, I think their floor goes up a little bit, right? That to me is, I don't think their ceiling is higher. Again, I have Ghana as probably round of 32, max round of 16, depending on matchups. I think they're battling to get out of the group third place. But it really does come down to, okay, moving off of all this, right? That first matchup against Panama, both sides in this game need a goal. I think you look at this game, I think if you're the GFA, you say, okay, we need someone to keep the goals low against England and then maybe Croatia. It but it's hard for me to trust them. And that's the reality. It's hard for me to trust Ghana right now because you could argue they're when you were looking at the names that they were trying to hire, ironically, the one coach they were looking at was probably the former Korean coach in 2022, i.e., the best game that they've looked. And they took a coach who got round ball results. And so I don't know if you can trust the Ghana, and it's going to be so hard. They are going to be such a wild card because on the one hand, you could see them go 3 up and 3 down, collect 3 losses, and say, "Hey, we made the World Cup. We had a good time. Let's collect." Scrolls down, continues to scroll down. Right. Let's collect our 9 million for making the World Cup, and then that's good. But I think their ceiling has always been, if they can figure it out, it's the round of 16. And that's being very generous. Okay, that's me as a Ghanaian being like, "Ooh, I think this is what we do. We can do this." Health is going to suck for them. They're going to have to find the defensive players that they need to really look good. Does that mean you turn base and be like, "We need young defenders who can defend well"? Does it mean that they go to Chelsea and be like, "Hey, yo, we need Action Pong. We need him"? Do they do that? I don't know. But they're going to need. So I think they have the wide players to be successful. That to me, I think, is clear. At the end of the day, they're going to need defensive solidity and proper outlets to hold up. And maybe that's where a Jordan U becomes actually useful for them to hold up and transition and go. But I think it's going to be a very interesting battle between the ideology of how Ghana wants to play versus how Coach Carlos may want to set them up. Right? And I think between those two things, right, going back to his Iran sides, right, going back to his Iran sides, we messed that up here. I think you're looking at a 4-1, 4-1, or a 4-5-1, some version of that. That's what you're going to get, which means in a transition, you're going to need players who can really push that through. Right? We're looking right, 4-1, 4-1, a 4-2-3-1, which you can argue could be a 4-5-1 in its most defensive ways. And so I think that could be very interesting. I think, I mean, you know, the big names that are going to be important. If you're their best CDM, I don't think is even playing well in terms of Thomas Partey, but I think they feel like he needs to be there, whether you agree that he should be or not. Right. And I think that's where it gets very, very interesting in that sense. So, let me bring in some people on this and see what they think. I don't. It feels like they're getting ready to be defensively solid, which means in a 4-5-1. Because even if we look at, well, let's actually do this here. Let's look at Ghana's their last fixtures here, and take a look at what they've looked like. Because lineup wise, again, a 4-4-2, a 5-2-3, or 3-4-3. Right? They have friendlies against Mexico, May 22nd, and then they have June 2nd versus Wales. There's supposed to be a third one in there somewhere. And so it's two, possibly three games that they'll have to sort themselves out. And I don't I don't know if I trust them to be that offensively set to do so. So I think that'll be very interesting. Even look at like how they set up against, even if you look at how they set up against South Korea, and then even versus South Korea, and then even a side like Japan, right? South Korea, it's basically a 4-4-1, a 4-4-1-1, right? Just to give you that visual here. And again, this was again very heavily rotated. We're not going to pretend like this was the full side that they played, but even within that, Akwesi Sibo, you had Caleb Birenchi in the middle. You needed more. I think they're going to have to play something like this, right? Like a 4-4-1-1, a 4-5-1, to see if they can try to create some types of opportunities on the counter, because I think that's what they're setting themselves up for, right? And I think that'll be where it is. But again, they'll have to decide. I think they're going to go. I think they're going to go one way or the other. Again, nothing changes too much in terms of what their potential is. It really does come down to what they're able to do and how they look against Panama, because that's 3 points that they feel that they should be able to get. And conversely, how they played, Panama walk into that game thinking that's 3 points that they think they should be able to get as well. And so, all right, laughing because we got folks coming in. But for those of you who are here and watching this, do you think this was the right move? Does this improve their ceiling? Does it lower their ceiling? How do we feel about this coach now taking over for Ghana and the World Cup? Nelly, I see you there. I see you, big guy. But the question is, with Coach Carlos, does this improve? Does it lower it? Carlos Queiroz. Yes, running us in the back. I don't. It's so hard. I think their floor goes higher. Like I said that earlier, and I think I'm going to stick with that. I think the ceiling of the team stays the same, but I think their floor gets higher because if they can get maybe better defensively, maybe that opens or that gives them the opportunity to stay alive. I think that's where you look at it and you say, gain a better defensive coach gives them the opportunity to stay solid and getting points. Again, I think 4 points gets you out because with third place, 4 points is the number you're aiming for. And if you're being the most optimistic, you say you get a win versus Panama, maybe a draw versus Croatia, and then you keep the scoreline down. But we'll see. We'll see. But we have Nelson here. Nee's gonna show up in a minute here. But Nelson.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah. Carlos Queiroz, coach for Ghana. How do you feel about that?
I could care less.
Thank you. Well, it's been a great show, guys. We're gonna head out now. No, but
no. Well, I think this always happens in every like big tournament. People tend to panic. Either they don't see the vision, or in your case, I think the showings in the last international friendlies kind of pushed the Ghanaian association to get rid. Well, we've spoken about this offline.
Yeah, off camera before. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many. You need a coach who has the ability to look at Jordan Ayew and just go, "You're not good enough." Like, you're just not good enough. You're good enough maybe on the bench,
yeah,
where you have the experience to kind of coach the kids. But like, let's assume Kudus is back by the World Cup. I don't think he will be, but let's assume he is.
If he is, I think it helps you.
Yeah, if you get Kudus back, you have you still have guys like Fatawu. You still have quite a few attacking players.
Yeah,
but it's a whole issue I have with like the Portugal thing, which is they have Ronaldo, and it's clearly one of the reasons why Portugal are not possibly going to win the World Cup. Without him, there's a really good possibility that they win. So same issue with you. I think it's the exact same situation.
It's I mean, because I said this when they first made the decision to move away, when the press release said, "Hey, there is because of lack of leadership." My ears went up and my antennas was like, so I'm not saying they're bringing back Andre, but I feel like they're saying the stage to bring back Andre because you need leadership, because he had lost the room. The coach had lost the room. Now you're dealing with a situation where a coach has to come in, build a roster, and there's not enough time to build, say, an offensive identity. So the easiest thing to do is park the bus, score on the counter, and that's how we're gonna make it through. And so I feel like I'm emotionally preparing myself for like Iran 2014, 2018 World Cup style of we're gonna defend, and we'll get a draw somewhere, and then maybe we get a win.
But you know what's crazy is tournament football, like the World Cup, and you see that with Morocco. Defense is actually better than attack.
Agreed.
Because having a solid attack, you need to be lucky, like a Spain team or a Brazil team in like 2002, where you just get blessed. You just have Spain had that ridiculous midfield. Brazil had the ridiculous attack. You see with France, the last French team to win the World Cup won that World Cup based off of defensive solidity. It wasn't you had good attackers. You had Mbappe doing his thing, but Kante, Pogba, those guys were the more important features.
Yes.
Those guys were the bedrock. They were the spine in winning that that trophy. So I think for Ghana, that's not a bad look. The problem, though,
Okay, because I
is
think
who you choose. Yeah, the problem is who you choose in attack. Because if you're going to go defensively, you need pace, you need power. And Jordan, I heard you say Andre is they're trying to like bring Andre back. That's a joke. If that's actually, even if it's in the rumor mill, that there's a possibility to bring Andre back, that is nuts. Andre's in his retirement tour. Why would you bring him back? He's not good. He was never good enough for you guys. Can we just keep it a stack, as I would say? Let's be honest. He was never good enough. Never was.
I don't. He was closer to bit closer to the full element than I think his brother. His brother is more
I don't
traits.
care.
But at the end of the day,
Asamoah Gyan gave you guys more than Andre Ayew and Jordan Ayew combined. Both combined. Because listen, you and I talk about this stuff. So maybe for people who don't know this, we talk about this all the time. we converse about the 2010 teams and everything. And like people see how well you guys attacked. I see it differently. I see the midfield solidity, the midfield of Muntari and well, Essien was there, but Essien wasn't in the World Cup. But like the solidity within that midfield, the defensive partnerships that were there at that time. And then you had that outlet of Asamoah Gyan. Because at the time, he was genuinely very, very good at the time.
But that's where my concern is. I don't know if they have the pieces to be that defensive. Right? I know you have Partey, you have Jiku.
Yo, Partey, bro. Yeah. Partey's amazing. I'm a big fan of Thomas Partey.
I'm not trusting his form right now. Thankfully, the World Cup's in 2 months. But like, if he gets to the form, I think I think pairing them up with a coach that's that defensive, that's great. But then even within that, you're gonna need actual, what's the word I'm looking? You're gonna need midfielders who can go, but then again, out wide. What do? Do you still go and just decide, hey, we don't have a 9, so guess what? Semenyo, you're gonna be our striker here, and that's how we're gonna live this.
Why don't
or do you just kind of live it that way, right? I think
play Naki Williams.
Does Iñaki will again? I think I agree with you in terms of you need pace if you're going to be defending that much, but also for the counter. So I would say yes, Iñaki does fit that much better. As I got Nii here, good to see you.
Hello, hello, Nelson. Hello, Kwasi. I was on the phone with my sister because this appointment at Carlos Queiroz is that serious. You know, the Ghanaian diaspora. We're ringing around. We're saying, "Hey, why are all these 70-year-old men getting jobs in power?" You know exactly what I'm referring to.
Yes, I'm well aware of what you're referring to, but it's yeah. I feel like I think because you're telling me, Nelson, right now we have Partey, they have Jiku. There's enough to build around defensively, and I think the strength of the team is their outside players. They have that in abundance. So if you have a bunch of them on the pitch, maybe have 1, 2. I don't think if Queiroz is healthy, it helps a lot. Don't get me wrong. But without that, they just have a lot of midfielders who they're good for their leagues, but they're not carriers. Again, no one's going to be a Queiroz. I think that's where I worry in terms of low block versus mid block.
You're looking at Queiroz. You're ignoring you have Semenyo. Like Semenyo is the most informed winger if you're not accounting Ryan Cherky in the Premier League right now. And then you also have Sulemana, who's amazing, by the way. And Queiroz is clear. Like Queiroz is Queiroz is very, very good. But Semenyo and Sulemana as your attacking wingers is pretty decent. Like that's actually a decent 2. And having Inaki in the middle, that's the honest truth is you just don't have the position to play Jordan Ayew.
Yes.
That's just the fact.
Well, no one's disagreeing with you here.
I think the most optimal attacking three absent of a number 9 is Semenyo on one side, and then Queiroz if healthy on the other, and then you have Iñaki coming to the middle. Now, if Queiroz can rotate as a false 9, that would work for me as well. But we know the deficiencies with this team when it comes to the final product. We're still looking for that number 9. Eddie Nketiah is injured, so he's not coming, even if he wanted to come. But we're still looking for that number 9, right?
Yeah.
And they got to sort that out.
But let's be honest. It's not like there's a lot of African nations, heck, no, even worldwide, that have a decent 9.
The Nigerians are going to enter the chat.
Well, Nigerians are the only ones who have a stacked. Rifles. Look at Brazil. This is the first Brazil team with shocking 9s. Like, absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, sorry, carry on.
In saying that, what Brazil lacks with the number 9, they make up for with other... with Vinicius. Yeah. They've got the gentleman from... they got Richarlison. They got guys who can make up for it in like a 10 spot. And I think Ancelotti is going to have that team set up in a way that they'll do what they need to do in the tournament. My question to you, gentlemen, if you haven't already covered it, is how is Queiroz going to get the most out of this squad, whatever it looks like in June?
Wait. You guys got Carlos Queiroz as your next coach?
Confirmed today by the GFA.
No shot.
I wasn't joking when I
Real Madrid, Carlos Queiroz. Manchester United's assistant manager, Carlos Queiroz. Holy crap.
Wait, this is important. That holy crap, is that a good holy crap, or is that like
it's not it's not a good holy crap, because he's always showcased as a better assistant manager than he was a good manager. He sucked at Real Madrid. He coached Portugal, didn't he? If I'm not wrong.
He did coach Portugal.
91 to 93.
And he wasn't good. And let's be honest, he was good back in like early 2000s. I don't know how he's going to be now.
But and that's why I'm saying he's coming from an Iran side. Like his last big tenure was Iran, and that was just, look, we're going to defend, we're going to get a goal here, and we're going to move on. And that's why I think this Ghana team is setting up as. They're going to set up as a 5-4-1, a 4-5-1, and it's just going to be, look, we're going to defend, and the wing backs, like, this is where I'm like, probably you put Antoine Semenyo as your outside winger, or you put him as a wing back and say you bomb forward and you give us a chance. This team, it looks like they're setting up to say, it almost feels like the GFA said, we have England and Croatia. We need to minimize the goals at all costs. And my response is, you can't score goals.
Yes.
Like, you should be able to, but you don't score goals. And so if you're going to go with that approach, then game 1 versus Panama, just like Panama's looking at you and saying game 1 versus Ghana, whoever gets 3 points there, then they say, if we can draw a Croatia, which, hey, let's underestimate Croatia again. That always works. And then you keep the goals low versus England. That should be a formula to get you to the round of 32.
But you know, the good thing of getting a Queiroz is Carlos will definitely not play Jordan Ayew. That is the one thing you guys got lucky on. You guys got because he doesn't care about his talent ID is elite, by the way. Like that, I do give Queiroz a lot of props for. He will know which is the best squad to take. His in-game management, completely different situation. But in terms of like talent ID, he knows. He'll know Jordan Ayew is not good enough. He'll know that Fatah was better than him. Now, does he have enough time between now and the end of the season?
That's the
plus
worry.
Injuries, plus everything to like get the best squad. That might be a tough task, but Carlos knows ball, at least. Damn, that's a pull you guys got. Okay.
Okay, so Nelson, you've raised a good point there, because I was looking at the comments online after the announcement, and it was condolences. It was condolences from the Iranians, condolences from the Egyptians, condolences from South Africans from back in the day.
Yeah.
So, I must admit, I was a little bit worried because last time Iran played in the World Cup, they got smoked 6-2 by England.
Yeah.
And the 2 wins that Queiroz did get, he got one against Morocco, which is not today's Morocco, and he got a win against Nigeria. I don't see an equivalent opponent in this group. But in saying that, he has name value, which we can all agree on. So does this appointment mean that maybe someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi might make the switch, or someone like that who's on the fence might say, yes, I'll come now?
I think you will see the Ghanaians in diaspora, or Ghanaians like who have kids of Ghanaian descent, who actually will show up and might actually play for Ghana for sure. Because Carlos is a big name. Whether or not you rate him or not, I rate him because I'm a United fan. He was our best assistant manager by a mile. But I know Carlos Queiroz quite well because I followed him when before he joined United. He was at Real Madrid. And I remember how bad he was there. And that was at his peak. And with you guys, hey, you've got a good talent ID guy. I don't know what he's going to do. Because the thing is, he stifles attacks, by the way. He'll pick a lot of your good attacking players and expect them to defend, like heavy defending, which negates Semenyo, might work for Sulemana, won't work for Kudus at all. So actually, he might pick Jordan Ayew because of that. And I'm thinking about that. Oh, man.
Jordan can do is good, apparently.
You're breaking up for me, I think.
Yeah. It's a fair point. Like, I'm thinking, like, even just because they don't even text, you try to make another run at Antempong at Chelsea again and say, hey, you want to come and start the World Cup? I mean, you're basically tying yourself out there, but it's another center back possible for them to go through. I think that can't hurt you with that name value. I don't think that can hurt you.
Because center back, they missed Mohamed Salah. That was a big hole when he went down with injury, and he's now out for the tournament. That's a big question mark. I hope that the Ghana FA has a database of all these dual nationals, and I hope that everyone who said no before, I hope there's a phone call or a message that goes out in the next 24 to 48 hours and says, hey, is the door completely closed? Maybe they didn't trust Odo Addo. I get it. But now there's that bigger name. It's one shot, one opportunity, to paraphrase Marshall Mathers. Maybe they try and make something happen this summer.
It's interesting because who are the biggest ones? Who are the biggest names?
Well, Eddie Nketiah was very close, but he's injured. Callum Hudson-Odoi is another one. Okwasi, who else is there?
Frimpong? No, Frimpong plays for the Netherlands, so
Frimpong's Dutch, so yeah. Like, I think Josh Anchopong would have been a name that they would have looked at, and I know he's sitting on the fence. I know they have a few young players, but I don't know if they're proven at a professional level as of yet. It wouldn't stop me, but those are, again, some more winger outside type players. And so for them, they don't quite have it. Like Ernest Poku, Dutch, but not on anything yet, who's at Leverkusen. He's still an option. Who else isn't tied in? The rest are young, right?
Aiden
has young.
Yeah, I was about to say, has he been capped for England yet?
Oh, Aiden haven't.
Yeah, he's gonna.
No, he has been capped. Yeah,
Aiden's a good shout, by the way. He actually would fix a lot of the issues that your defense might have, because he can pass the ball quite well. He's rapid, great in the air, but not like an aggressive, full-out aggressive center back.
Yeah.
Abdul Rahman Baba Is he not Ghanaian?
I think
he plays for
he
Schalke.
Is.
Sure. So
let me
just while we clarify that,
left back.
Heaven did commit to England, but I don't know if Tuchel's taking him. Let's be honest. He's not.
No, I don't think Tuchel will take him. No,
dude. Have you seen that list?
Yeah, so
he's not.
That's one guy I will be circling back to and saying, "Hey, you sure you want to get one cap for England in a Euro qualifier, or you want to come and play for Ghana at the World Cup? Which one do you want?"
That would be because they missed having Salisu. They really do.
Yeah.
Salisu is amazing.
The way some of those goals they conceded against Austria, it was rough to watch. It was rough.
And it's not like you can excuse and say, "Oh, they had a bunch of creative midfielders who weren't defending." No, they just had midfielders who just couldn't defend. It was just why are we doing this?
Yeah, the middle and back third were. It was like a motorway.
No, that's being generous to motorways. So it was pasture. Horses could roam free and do what they pleased. And I think that was a struggle, and I think for a lot of Ghanaians, if you told them that they were going to win one game and lose the other, they would have told themselves, "We'll win against Austria and then maybe have a tough game versus Germany." Yes. I don't think many. I didn't expect them to win any of the games, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But talking to other Ghanaians, I think most Ghanaians that I spoke to were like, "Yeah, it's Austria. Who do they have? Germany have names. Who does Austria?" Like, yeah, Sabitzer is gonna take.
Wait. I just pulled up the list of people who could be available, and this list is nuts. Yeah. So you could have Jose Achimpong or Josh Achimpong. Both actually. Josh Achimpong. You could have Josh. There's two apparently, but I know Josh, who's at Chelsea. Really good center back, rapid. He's actually better than Aiden Evan, to be fair. Romeo Lavia, again, Chelsea, Belgian. He would be harder because I think he actually could make the Belgian squad. So I don't think you would get that. Tariq George, that's shocking. He's really good. If I'm not wrong, that's is he at Everton? And he's a midfielder. He's really good if it's the same Tariq George. Rapid. Those are good players. Like those are really, really good players. Yeah, it is him.
And that's Everton. That's the thing. I know the squad numbers are 26, and essentially it's going to be 3 goalkeepers and then the rest outfield players. All you need is 16 to 18 players because you can only make 5 subs. Yeah, you're not really going to sub the goalkeeper. So you just want a solid starting 11 and then 5 to 7 guys you can bring on, whether you're trying to defend the lead or chase the game. That's it. The rest is guys who are in the squad but may not get a lot of game time. So you want to really shore up those first 18 players.
And to what you said, Nii, I think it's fair that a large reason as to why maybe they went for someone like Carlos is the big name. It's the fact that he is a valid, well-known coach. Good or not doesn't matter. He's coached one of the biggest teams in the world in Real Madrid. Like that's a big name. So I'm seeing that apparently Samson Baidu at Lens is interested in playing for Ghana.
Yeah,
that's crazy good. I don't know if you have been watching Lens. Lens are like second.
In Liga. They could, I mean, if the French league stopped giving PSG these weekends off, Lens could actually win the league. But
this is true. Happen. This is true.
How much do you want to help your teams? I mean, there's one thing to help them, but it's another thing to just give them a straight up advantage over the rest of the league.
So you guys, it might not be as bad as I first initially thought, because if you do get these, like let's assume, so Nketiah is not going to be there regardless, he's injured.
No.
Hudson-Odoi, even if he is there, is constantly injured. If you can get Achimpong, I think Achimpong would be the biggest steal, but I think Acheampong is actually good enough to play for England eventually. So he might think, I'm not going to go. And Samson Baidu is amazing. He's definitely better than Salisu, like clear.
Yeah,
Baidu's amazing.
So Nelson, let me ask you a question about Acheampong, because Chelsea are interesting. Because Chelsea are sitting in 5th or 6th, and they might make the Champions League, they might not. I think one thing that's going to come home to roost for that club is the fact that if they miss out on the Champions League, they get bumped into Europe or Conference League. I don't think the wage bill is going to keep up. They're going to have to sell players. And I know Enzo might go to Real Madrid. They might get some money out of that. But are they going to have to sell someone like Acheampong?
Yep.
So could it be said that maybe his agent might tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, maybe you should go to the World Cup with Ghana, put yourself on the map, and then you can get out of Chelsea when they have to do a fire sale this summer?
I think they would love to sell Acheampong, and I think Acheampong would possibly go for probably around like 60 million in this. I'm a United fan. I'm a Manchester United fan, and I would take Acheampong in a heartbeat. I would take him. He has so much going for him. But I think the issue with an Acheampong is he's looking at those right back, center back options.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys are old now. Maguire, who's going, he's old, right? Like he might actually think, I'm close enough to the England squad that I could make the decision. But this would have to be, as you said, the agent would have to do some high level convincing. Because if I'm him, I wouldn't make the decision, even though that's crazy. Because I would stay an English. I would definitely lock in the English tax.
Yeah, for sure. Being a homegrown player means a lot. And it makes a big difference.
And he represented them in all the other youth levels. So I think he would prefer. But we never know. Stranger things have happened. Because all it takes is like another good young. Wait. The right back right now is Livramento at Newcastle. Oh, he might not actually have a way in. Now that I think about it, there's quite a lot of competition in that area. But he could, but that's a long shot. I think you have more chances with like Tyreek George will never play for England, never. But he's a really good player. I would definitely take him.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. And so for you, Nelson, based off of the coach, and Nia, I'm going to ask this to you as well. Does Ghana's ceiling, again, they have Panama, Croatia, England. Does their ceiling go up? Does their floor go up? Are they still about the same? What does just the appointment itself do you think does for their chances at the Summer's World Cup?
Nelson, you go first because I got thoughts and it's combustible.
So is for this World Cup, is it the top 3 still go through?
It's the best. It's 8 of the best top 3 third place teams move through. So 8 of the 12 will go through, which is why I went over last year's. Basically, 4 points should get you to the round of 32.
Yeah.
So you need 4 points.
Yes.
So So it assumes Ghana beats Panama and draws against either one of England or
Croatia.
I think would need doable. That. Yeah. I think that's very doable. And I'll say this because I don't think Panama is as good as people think it is. Just because they're good against North American teams doesn't mean they're actually good. And I think Croatia, the issue is Modric is on absolute form, and you never count out Croatia. This is a crazy thing. I think Ghana can get a draw against England. Because I don't know if you've seen this English team. They are broken. I'm not joking, by the way. Like, we will see once. Because right now the problem they have is Kane is amazing, and Kane didn't show up in the friendlies. And he did play a weekend team when they drew to, was it Senegal? And they lost to someone, didn't they?
Lost to Japan. 1-0.
Yeah, lost to Japan. Yeah, lost to Japan and drew to Senegal. So I have a sneaky suspicion Tuchel wouldn't do as well. He'll still go through. I think he'll beat the rest. But I think Ghana have a good enough squad, technically, physically, to annoy the English. And I would take that. I would actually think they beat Panama and they draw against England. And I think Croatia would beat them because they would think Croatia has extremely technical midfielders. You wouldn't get anywhere near the ball. Just how it works.
We don't get near the ball anyway, so
No,
did you not watch a Germany game? Like, when did we have the ball? It was Jordan trying to draw a foul all the time.
But here's the thing though. Rice versus Partey wins that all day. Like all day. Partey is a better midfielder than Rice. And I know people think that's crazy, but I actually believe Partey is better than him. That midfield has no creativity. Doesn't matter which version they play. Anderson or Rice or unless they play Wharton. If they play Wharton, then maybe that's an issue. But I don't think he'll go. I think they'll go with Anderson, Rice, Kobe Mainu, and somebody else. Some random
Bellingham?
English guy. Bellingham. Oh no, he doesn't like Bellingham. Tuchel hates Bellingham. Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And they say that apparently he's trying to walk back, but the relationship is solid. That's what they say. He's going to take Morgan Rogers.
They are broken.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a possibility that depending on what squad he takes, Ghana could shock England by you don't have to be good. You just have to stop them for 90 minutes. And I think that's very doable.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the recipe there. Like what you're saying, the I guess infighting with some of the players. Yeah. You add to that a disorderly camp in Florida, and then when they get to Boston, which is where they're going to play Ghana, it's in the afternoon, which is important because that time of year it's going to be hot. It's going to be 4 o'clock. I mean,
and humid because it's Boston. Yeah.
Some of those European teams struggled in Qatar with those early kickoffs. So 4 o'clock kickoff in Boston, I could see it. My one concern, Nelson, and as someone who's followed Queiroz, is this: would Carlos Queiroz have learned from that 6-2 result where Iran got smoked by England last World Cup? Would he have learned the lessons from that?
I think so. Do you know why? Because I don't think Iran's squad was good enough to begin with. And I think losing 6-2, it sounds rough and which it is, but then you forget what he did the next game. He beat Wales, Iran beat Wales, and then they lost to the States, which the States is a good team, but beating Wales right after losing that badly showed he was able to rally the squad. That's true. I actually think he could do, because what's Ghana's first game is Panama, is it not? Yeah. So if you beat Panama and you take that momentum to the next game, you can definitely stifle one of England or Croatia. Croatia is going to be difficult just because I really rate the midfield. But overall, I actually think you can do a job against England.
Okay.
You won't win, but you will definitely do a job. Now you draw against Panama, then you guys aren't going through.
It is worth pointing out the last time Ghana played England, they did draw. It was 0-0 at Wembley. I remember.
Yeah, I remember that game. Yeah, good game. Ghana actually were the better team.
They were.
Yeah, yes. I remember that game. You could tell that they were shell-shocked that Ghana might actually be the first African nation to beat them at home.
Yeah, I think Senegal took that distinction.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Oh, did Senegal beat them?
Yeah, Senegal beat England. Yeah, 3-1.
Oh,
yeah.
Shoot.
Proper.
It was a proper beating.
Proper beating.
Jollof and all. And I was just like, oh, and Mane was just like, well, I'm still good, by the way, guys. I'm still good. But my worry with Ghana is if they decide to be defensive, I haven't seen them be consistent scoring against and it's not even just the scoring, it's just being dangerous against top teams. Now, maybe that changes with the coach. Maybe, we find out maybe it was Otto Addo who was holding them back the entire time, right? And Carlos unlocks everything with their countering and transition game. I don't know if I can trust them to be goal seeking and goal full at the same time. They haven't been able to finish well. Like within them making the World Cup is a failed AFCON qualifying tournament where the misses that they had went from this is ridiculous to this is actually hilarious to I'm actually texting friends and laughing because you wouldn't believe how they missed, right? This is Iñaki Williams with an open net and the goalie on the other side and he kicks it to the goalie. It's like, what are we doing here? And so if I'm going to buy into that they can be better defensively with coach here, I still have to put faith that they can actually finish, and I think that's the one spot where it does hold them back. And yes, a team like Panama, you may not rate them, but like what they've done to the States and even Mexico here, where they'll defend well and they'll frustrate, and then when they start taking their chances, they start ringing bells. And it's a game that if Ghana doesn't score against Panama early, it's going to be a game where Panama gets out of it and they win it like 1-0 at the end because they're able to finally get a goal at the end, and that's the thing. And that's where my concern is with them. I think being better defensively definitely improves their floor. I think you would hope that means they can at least definitely get a draw against one of those top two teams. And then if their scoring boots are there, maybe that does turn it up and they can find a win versus a Panama, or dare I say a win against other sides. But to me, it's finding the finishing at this tournament, which is going to be they've not created against top teams more recently, and that's where my major concern with them still is. So if they can reduce the goals against, great. But the goals for is always going to be my concern because not that we're chasing the ghost of Asamoah Gyan, but they haven't had someone who can consistently finish. And this is where if Queiroz isn't available, I think they're going to really miss him because he can at least be the dangerous spot for them in terms of creating in transition and even in possession and offset pieces as well. So I feel better about them, but I don't feel convinced that I think off of what I was feeling before, which was you're fighting for third more than likely, and really it comes down to if they can finish or not.
Akwasi, you're chatting so much. How the hell are you rating Panama this highly? Canada beat Panama 2-0 in the CONCACAF semifinal 2 years ago. Yeah?
Yeah.
2-0.
Yeah.
Canada couldn't beat Tunisia. Full strength Canada couldn't beat Tunisia. And you think Ghana are going to struggle against Panama?
I just want to see them finish, man. It's what it boils down to me. I haven't seen them finish consistently against better competition.
I know you watch enough CONCACAF that it confuses you, okay? The issue you have is you conflate AFCON being on the same level as CONCACAF.
No, I don't.
AFCON teams are significantly better, like significantly. I'm not kidding. So they played South Africa. They drew 1-1, and then they played them again, and then they beat them 2-1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ghana beat South Africa 2-0. And even when you account for that, even if you account for that in 2019, it was a long time ago. In the qualifying stages in 2021, Ghana beat South Africa 1-0. I actually don't. I love the South African squad. They're the most technical African team, excluding Morocco, in my opinion. But the issue I have with the way they played Panama isn't the way Ghana is going to play Panama.
Fair.
Ghana's going to be extremely physical with them.
Yes.
But also have the technical ability up front. Because Semenyo is elite. Semenyo is elite at the moment. Semenyo is one of the best players in the world, shockingly, at the moment. Whether it sounds crazy, it's actually the truth. Semenyo is good. If Queiroz is there, let's be honest, Queiroz is an amazing player. I love Queiroz. But even without Queiroz, I think Suleiman is a decent player. And if we're even saying let's assume Queiroz plays, you could possibly have one of Semenyo as a 9 or Queiroz as a 9, Queiroz, Semenyo, and Suleiman. That's fantastic. Otherwise, move Semenyo to the wing, or Kudus to the wing, put Inaki Williams in the middle. That's still decent. Like, that's significantly better than whatever version Panama's going to put up. Facts, dude. Come on.
I've been hurt.
Stop hating on your. I can't imagine.
I've been hurt too often.
Backing your team more than yourself. Like,
I've been hurt.
I don't blame him, because even the World Cup qualifying campaign, they did back into qualifying. You know, some of those matches towards the end against Mali, Chad.
He is still running.
He's still dribbling.
Is still running. He hasn't been challenged yet.
Still dribbling. After dribbling through the Ghanaian midfield, he's dribbling on his way through the Sahara. But I just think that it didn't give you confidence. It's not like Ghana was in the toughest of the toughest groups. They were in a group that they were expected to qualify from. Yep. And they made it harder for themselves than they really should have. And maybe that contributed to Otto Addo's demise in the end. I'm sure losing to Austria and Germany was the final nail.
I think that was a straw. Yeah.
Definitely
that Germany game was rough.
And that to me, I think, is where the struggle for me with them is. They could have lost, the results could have stayed the same. But if they had at least looked dangerous to them, like if they looked dangerous, but then, hey, on this night, just Austria have their shooting boots and you didn't have it, I can live. Against Germany, it's 2-1. But if they were generating more opportunities and more chances, there's a degree where it's just when they play better teams, they don't look like that. Now, again, the argument can be made. They are a better team than Panama, right? I think they're closer because I think they're closer in terms of their quality, because I can't trust Ghana's consistency.
I don't understand where that's coming from, though. You qualified from your group with one loss.
There were a few draws that should have been wins. Honestly, if you
watch
the games, that draw against Chad, I know it was away from home, but it was the way that they drew.
You beat them 5-0 the previous time you faced them.
Yes.
Okay. Another thing is,
I'm finding Stockholm syndrome here, boys. By the way, that's what I'm finding. I'm like, what's going on, man?
It's the pain. Because Otto Addo, the way Otto Addo had Ghana organized in 2022, that team was fighting every game against Korea, against Portugal, against Uruguay. That team was fighting. There were goals coming from different spaces. This team, by comparison, very dry, very just lacking quality, lacking dynamism in the final third. I think the concern with Panama is Thomas Christensen gets the most out of his team. I think we all agree that the Panama squad is mid. It's mid.
Yeah, it's mid.
Name one Panama player. Probably can't. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because Christensen has that team so well organized that they know how to step up in tournaments. That's why they've done well in Copa America. That's why they've done well in the Gold Cup. Am I saying they're going to win the group? No. But I'm saying that they will surprise more people than.
By the way, from how maybe the way I say things might come across as me completely ignoring Panama's.
They'll be in the comments afterwards. No worries.
Yeah. But the thing that I'm trying to assess here is the freaking level between Ghana. I understand from your so you guys need to understand. I'm not Ghanaian. I'm watching this from a mile away, and I can tell you guys are a decent squad. The problem I find is that you guys think you should be competing with Morocco and Senegal when the truth is you're below them. That's the problem.
You've nailed it.
You guys haven't accepted where your level is. So that level, I'll tell you what that level is. That level is above Panama, but below Senegal. So wherever that level, that's the level right there.
No, at least we'll stay on the pitch. We're not walking off the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you wouldn't get there. You wouldn't get to the final.
we're in the stand already.
We're all going home together.
That's to your point. I think that's a very valid point. Where in terms of for Ghanaians to evaluate where they are versus where they look and saw where they were, right? And I think that's the problem. They look at like the Moroccos and the Senegals and be like, yeah, you guys are joining our club. It's like no. you've left that club. Like we're not there right now. We aren't. And I think what that creates with some of them, I'll at least say for myself, if you're not on the top, you're gettable. Right? Mm. And I think that's the mentality that some Ghanaians will have, which is if you're not one of the best teams in Africa, then on any given day, you can be got by anyone. Right? We saw that when Ghana came to the States 2 years before the last AFCON, the one that they qualified. And they were dog walked by the States, and Mexico were just like, quick work, cool. Have some chicken with your, don't even make ketchup rice. Just go home. We'll send you some chicken, and that'll be it. And so there's a degree when you're watching them, if you don't feel that you're one of the best teams there, then you feel that any team can get you on that given date. And especially, as Nii was saying, there isn't as much fight with them. Right, as much as them qualifying for the World Cup is the goal, and they did it. How they looked, and yes, again in AFCON qualifying, stuck with a lot of people because they looked like a shell of themselves every game. Now, if you want to tell yourself, hey, they just weren't interested in AFCON, sure, believe that, but you can't have one. And if you can't have one version of you looking like trash, another version of you looking like slightly better and able to qualify, not be concerned and say which one is going to show up. Is it the one that looked great against Central African Republic, or the one who lost to Sudan 2-0?
Yeah, but Sudan's a good team.
They're a good team, but when this happens, it's like.
Let me explain. Sorry, Akwasi, because now again you're talking to another African who doesn't who isn't overwhelmed by the light sight of like 2010. But like you need to understand something. The African nations have actually gotten significantly better.
Yes.
Like Mali's a really good squad. Mali's insanely good, by the way. Madagascar is a decent squad.
Agreed.
So when you're discussing these teams that historically you would just steamroll, that's not how that works anymore. You don't steamroll people the way it used to be.
Agreed.
But when I look at your results, you guys beat every team that you faced in your group. You beat all of them, every single one. Now, were they close? Hell yeah. Madagascar last minute.
Central African Republic the first time it was
last minute. Like I get it. Those games, Chad equalized in the last minute again. But I also think you guys have been having an issue that every good squad. Sorry, how do I say this? You guys are having an issue where you're in transition and you're still trying to hold on to the players who used to be good instead of the players who are going to be good.
I think that's their problem, yes.
Yeah, so you have a lot of good young players. Fatawu coming on. Semenyo, who's, I know he's not young, he's 25, 26. But this is like his breakout season. Because he was good last season, but now this season, he's taking it up another level. All these guys who are coming in, they're all freshly good. You don't have guys who have like a history. And in that 2010 season, what you guys had was a combination of experienced players in your defense, and then you had elite young players coming out at the same time. The truth is, you should just bench Jordan Ayew, and you would be fine. I guarantee the dynamism you guys have dies with him.
Yes,
it just dies with him, man. And you guys would be a very, very good team. A team that can win one game in your group. That's how good your team would be. You would definitely win one game.
That's what you need.
Yeah, you just need the one
as a base.
Yeah,
I mean, because someone is going to qualify with 3 points with this format. Someone is going to get through with 3 points.
Oh yeah.
So it's just goal difference. And if what you're saying is Queiroz comes through, then defensively they should be sound. But one issue I think we have in Ghana is that we are living off 2010, and by extension, the previous 4 AFCON wins that were largely before our lifetimes. But we still live off those. That is the expectation. Yeah. When you go to AFCON to win. It's not about development for the future. When you go to the World Cup, you go to the World Cup to go to the quarterfinals because we did it before. In fact, we should go on to the semifinals, except for that that Uruguayan guy we don't talk about. Yeah. And I think that has permeated every bit of Ghanaian football. So you have a sports minister that comes out and says, we can make the Final Four.
Mm-hmm. We're not that good.
Yeah, you have a football association president who says, we're coming to compete. And by the way, he seems to be the last one standing, even though he's fired Chris Hughton, he's fired Otto Addo, he's fired Winfried Schaefer. Yeah. So I look forward to his eventual resignation and departure this summer. Anyway.
Nii, that's not going to happen. You know what's going to happen. Motsepe is going to call him. He's going to get a job working with CAF, and it'll all make sense.
Good. Take the promotion, take all your cronies, and get out. Because the Ghana needs a clean out after this World Cup. I'm guessing that Queiroz is just coming for the tournament, right?
Yeah, he's coming for the tournament.
However far they go, he's gone. Fine. Mm-hmm. Bring in someone like Hervé Renard and give him the project. You pick whoever you want, you develop your style of play, and you get AFCON and the next World Cup cycle. And guess what? We'll leave you alone. We're not going to tell you to pick a certain player because his father played for Ghana or whatever. This is your team. That is how you do it. This backbiting, this infighting, this conniving is eroding the quality of Ghanaian football.
100%.
We're all worse off for it.
1,000%. And it's like to me that's also some of the core of my frustration, which is we are holding on to a core, and it's not even a core anymore, right? It really does all come down to Jordan at this point. It really does. But it's just like there's no need for him to be starting. If you think you need him on the roster because he has the armband, fine. Do that. Give him the arm because he has the armband. Do that. Stephen Appiah could get off and say, "Hey, Kevin Prince Boateng is here, and he could use a better 10, so I'll come off the bench." Be leading those moments, or just move off of them. A lot of times, and you find this with even look at a team like Cameroon. Like, yes, Abubakar is great, but that man is 40, and I get Eto'o not wanting him to break the record allegedly as a thing there, but at some point you have to transition and just give those players who have the opportunity, give them the opportunity to either sink or swim. Don't keep on going back and saying, "Oh, we need this player for experience because he has the experience." Right? My worst case scenario is Andre Ayew ends up on this team because they're going to say, "Oh, they need the experience," and my response is going to be, "What experience? To miss the penalty when he could have gone up in a game and maybe gone to the next round? You need that experience to come onto the pitch and say, calm down, then give up a 2-goal lead at AFCON? That's the experience we need right now." No one's denying the legacy he's had, but what are we? I'd rather lose, and this is something I'll always say, I'd rather lose and learn something than be in the same spot with the same group again and again. And so give some of those kids a chance. If that means you have to move out veterans, fine. Do it. Let them cut their teeth, see if they're up to the level. If they're not, now you've learned that. If they haven't, then if they are, then you know that, and you can move on with it. But so much of what you guys said is there, and it's true.
And you look at another team that has a strong history in Tunisia, and Sabri Lamouchi was brought in after AFCON, and he's been very explicit about it. He said, "My charter is to use his words, my responsibility to Tunisia is to bring forth the next generation." He's not even hiding it. And he said it. He said, "I'm going to have difficult conversations. I'm going to be, some people are going to be unhappy." But he knows why he's there. He's been given the mandate, and that is to bring in the next generation of guys. He got Ryan Illumi to switch from Canada to play for Tunisia. He's getting guys to come across because they know they need to bring in the next generation. They're not living off the previous AFCON win or the last World Cup journey. They know they got to look forward if they want, especially to keep up with Morocco, because I'm sure
that's the issue.
Off the chain.
I think the problem you guys are facing is because normally Ghana kicks into gear when Nigeria kicks into gear.
Yes.
And because Nigeria has been floundering, you guys think,
we're okay.
We're okay because Nigeria is still not as good as we are. The North Africans can do what they're doing, but and the Senegal team, whatever. Senegal is way too far behind us. We don't consider them a threat. You're still looking at the old Titans of football.
Exactly.
When the new ones have, like this Senegal thing, this isn't a one-time thing. They have better players who are younger now.
Yes. Agreed.
Like that second generation coming up is scary.
Mm-hmm.
Wally and them, insane. Like there's a whole new category of amazing players coming up. And then but even to ignore that, I think what Ghana's having is, as you said, what Tunisia did is exactly what Ghana needs to do. It's you're not going to be competitive in any competition. You might qualify for them. That doesn't mean you're going to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually you need that like next cycle where you get this lucky break where they all come good at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what England did. England have been doing this. England tried to rebuild this squad. Like it started in like the early 2000s.
Yes.
What you're seeing now is 20 years of them rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think Ghana's just, going to be decent because you do have a few decent players, that's not how that works. You guys are right now, no jokes, you're in the same category as Mali. I don't see how you guys are like a Mali to me.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Mali disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's the same boat because a lot of guys from Mali often go off and play for other countries because that's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, Mali had you
talk about young players for Senegal. They all play for Senegal. They almost always play for Senegal nowadays.
Yes,
but young players for Ghana, not the case. Young players for Ghana play for England, play for Germany, play for Spain, play for Netherlands, play for whatever EU country there is. And end of the day, you can't blame them.
No,
because you look at the setup back home. It's a basket case. And why would you commit your future to play for a country where there's no direction? It's living off the past which you've established, and they don't have your interests at heart. Why would you commit your future to them? And then there's the other stuff, under the table, this, that, and the other. We can get into that if you want to, Kwasi. But the best Ghanaian players are not playing for Ghana. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's admin. It's admin issues, right? It's always the admin. It's never, if a player decides they want to play for them, great. But 9 times out of 10, it's an admin issue. That's why I'm just like, well, why does Kurt get to pick another coach? You let CK. You said CK wasn't good enough. You said Pia wasn't good enough. You said Chris Hughton wasn't good enough. Oto Ada wasn't good enough. And now you're bringing in, you've picked all of these players. You picked all these
way, with respect, it's not like Kurt is this venerable football administrator who's come from club football. No, Kurt is a journalist. Kurt is essentially one of us who went from the press room to the boardroom, which is great, and it's great that someone has been able to have that ambition and see it through. But you've been there for a while, buddy, and you've made a few different changes. The results haven't translated on the field, not for the men's team anyway. The women's team is coming along, but the time is coming where, maybe take that CAF promotion when it comes.
Yeah,
for the good of the nation.
I wouldn't be upset with it. Look, we've run 90 minutes. I try to keep these 90. So the Ugandan ref is saying 4 minutes of additional time for those who need it. I had this conversation with Mo Football last week, but since I have you here, Nii, and I have you, Nelson, right? If we're looking at the rest of the African sides, we might as well just do is it as simple as saying, look, or actually I'll ask you it this way. Who are if you have to pick 3 African sides you think will have deep runs at this World Cup or have the potential to do it, who are they? And Nii, I'm going to start with you because,
All right. So we've established that probably not Ghana, probably not Tunisia. I actually like South Africa. What Nelson said about the technicals is on point, and I do think there is some advantage to playing games in Mexico at altitude. I think that's a low-key advantage that we haven't talked about. I think if Bolivia qualified, they would have enjoyed that. I also like the look of Morocco. As they're in a group with Haiti, Brazil, and Scotland. I think they come through and they have another good run.
Mm-hmm.
Another team that we also should look at. They went through the hard way, but they made it through. And
Congo.
yes, they're gonna make waves. They got Portugal, Uzbekistan, and Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
Uzbekistan, they have a good young core, but they can be had.
Mm-hmm.
Colombia, led by James Rodriguez, again, a team that can be. I do think the Congolese team is not one to be slept on. They from front to back, they got some quality players, and they should be looked out for.
My only concern with the Congolese squad is just the attack, because Wissa, prior to moving to Newcastle, was on absolute form and
terror. Yeah,
dropped. Like, it's so bad. His form has dropped significantly. I think the rest of the attack is very like mid, but that midfield, Sadiki at Sunderland, excellent player. Just one of my favorite players. Is Mukiele also Congolese? No, I don't think he is. I don't know who he was. Who's Mukiele? That sounds like a Congolese name. That's one of the reasons. Oh, he's French. He's French.
That was one of the two.
Sorry, buddy. But yeah. So I do think I'm actually with you, where I think Congo is a dark horse for the African nations. For me, I always just look at the best teams. It's Senegal. It's going to be, I think Ivory Coast should get out of the group. I think the group is quite weak. Curacao, Ecuador, and Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ivory Coast could actually do something there. I think Senegal should get out that group. Senegal should beat Iraq, get those 3 points, and then just fight their darnest against the other. Norway and France is going to be a hard one. I think Algeria get knocked out. Congo can go through as the second team. I think Ghana go through. That group looks strong, but I don't think so. I will wait till. And Cabo Verde.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Cabo Verde.
Yeah, that's an Uruguay are good. Spain are good. I'm not sure.
If it was Cabo Verde 4 years ago, I'd be higher on them. Mm-hmm. But they're older, and it's pretty much the same group. That's the concern. But Nii, what were you saying before I cut you off there?
No, you're good. The 48 team format is going to be a headache for me because you know how it's going to be. It's going to be Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. We're going to have the calculators out. We're going to be doing the live. We're going to be refreshing. Okay, who is qualifying right now? Okay, nope. I'll go refresh again. So that's one thing, and then you look at the groups. So we're going to have 12 group winners going.
Yep.
But eventually, when it rinses itself out in the quarterfinals, those group winners have to face each other. So some teams are going to get a sweet ride, whereas other teams are going to go through a gauntlet. So I looked at it before. Argentina's group, which Algeria is a part of, is one of them. Another group was it Spain? So Spain's group with Cabo Verde is another one. And then the Netherlands with Tunisia, although Tunisia, I think we can agree they're rebuilding. Those three teams, among others, could have a really sweet ride to the quarterfinals and then semis if things shake out the way we think they will. In terms of they might get a third place team and then a second place team in the round of 16. You know what I mean?
True. I think the opposite happened because I'm a sicko and I watched the U17 men's, and it's the same format where they seed the winners. So like the best first place team will play the worst third place team, and blah 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 blah. I think because there's more spots, because of how reseeding could work, I think you're not guaranteed, and I'll miss knowing that Group A winner plays second place Group B. I'll miss that simplicity. I really will.
Yeah.
But I think you're still going to get matchups where it's just like, oh, you're playing the second place winner of this group, but it's really like it's France. France is the second place in their group because somehow Senegal tops their group, and then Norway's in third. And you're like, great, now I have to play them. I don't like the reseeding in that aspect, but like I think if you look at the teams against, I think Senegal will have a group that will battle test them. That I think once they get to the round of 32, they'll be all right. Morocco, I think, will have a pathway through. I still like Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. I think they're a team that can, if they get through this round, they could be a fun team that could maybe burn through some proverbial brackets to see what they can do. But I think they're trying to set it up where they're going to have teams avoid other teams with reseeding. I think with 3 spots in some groups, the pressure to be top 2 isn't as poignant. It's the pressure of moving on. And at that point, maybe you're better off playing a team that surprises your group and wins it. And then at that point, you're just like, oh, well, then we're good. And we don't have to worry about it that way. But I'll be curious to see how teams want to approach once they are guaranteed. Because again, last World Cup, for instance, right? You had Tunisia beat France, I think, in the final game. Right? If this was that World Cup, that means Tunisia moves on. France still is able to move on in the first place, but there's still options for them to go. But I think for the African side, like you said, I like those 3 that I mentioned. I think the dark horse outside of that, like you said, Nelson, I think Algeria to me is interesting.
You think Algeria is coming out of that group
as a 3rd place? Yeah.
I think they take care of Jordan.
Well, who's the first game? That's a question.
That's first game is the Netherlands. No, sorry, it's friendly. The first game is Argentina.
Okay, so they get throttled by Argentina, and then what's the next game?
Jordan.
After that? Oh, okay, yeah. Because I assumed if they go through the gauntlet of Argentina and Austria back-to-back games, by the time they're facing Jordan, they are like they're catching their breath.
No, for sure. But I think that's the game where it's like, no, they need, it's like Ghana versus Panama. No, they need that win.
Yeah, they'll need the win.
If it's a draw, you might as well just enjoy.
But that's why I like Ghana Panama first, because you get to like gain that momentum before you don't start and get your, like, Argentina will absolutely destroy Algeria. Like, Argentina is just a bad team to face.
Yeah,
they can play their second team and it's still stronger than your first. Like, it's such a bad team to face.
No, and it won't be middle of the day in Qatar, so you're not going to see Saudi Arabia smash and grab like last time. There's no Herb Renard special.
No Bond villain being like, good. No, end the game.
No. But you know what? You could every single World Cup, there's always that one good team that struggles. Like, we all get shocked. And
right now, who is that for you?
Okay.
The more I look at that Tunisia group, the more that group kind of confuses me. Because the Netherlands aren't good, Sweden are okay, and Japan are good. So you might look at that Tunisia group and think Tunisia's just going to lose against all 3 of them. I don't think so. I think Tunisia could beat one of them. Like, I look at the Dutch, and that Dutch squad is not good.
And
they don't have good attackers. They don't have good. Their centre back pairing. Matthijs de Ligt is injured. Van Dijk is gone. He's not the same Van Dijk that imperious form. They're actually a shocking team right now. Like, if you go through the players, Reinders, who was amazing last season, isn't playing. Coop Miners is okay, but okay in a Juventus team where he's not allowed to attack. Gravenberch is horrible. Xavi Simons is getting relegated. Like, true. Keith Smith is the only decent player, but he only plays in AZ Alkmaar. Wout Weghorst, let's see if we can even find a goal. Doniel Malen.
Yeah.
He's decent. Brian Brobby, amazing. I love him at Sunderland. Their defense is what saves them in terms of like the wingers. Dumfries, Hato at Chelsea sucks. Van der Ven. Wait, Van der Ven's Belgian. Why is it saying? Is he Dutch? Is Van der Ven Dutch? I think it was Belgian.
By the way,
either way, Van der Ven's terrible. Because the version of him is.
Doesn't matter. Yes, go on.
Yeah, Van Heck is good. Van Heck at Brighton's good. That I will give them. That's not a good squad, boys. Sorry.
Yeah. Brian Brubby could have played for Ghana. I'm just gonna put that out there.
That's insane.
That's the number 9. Good. That is the number 9 that is missing. But anyway, before I start ranting.
Good. No.
Yeah, we missed out on the Dutch conference.
Memphis could have played for Ghana too. Yeah.
Another
we missed out on all the Dutch converts. We really did. Like, because the second we missed out on Frimpong was like, Brobe was like, nah, I'm good. And then
who, Jeremy Frimpong?
Yeah.
I'll go back to 1998. I'll go back to George Boateng.
True.
That's where it started.
Yeah.
When he put on the Oranje, it's like, okay, it's a wrap for
but let's be honest. Back in the day, it was you'd be shunned more if you switched. Now it's more like it's okay if you choose to go play for another. Like, think about how crazy it is that Semenyo, who starts for England, chose Ghana. Mm-hmm. That's actually insane when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he starts with them right now. He'd be the best winger right now.
Yeah. It's certainly something for sure.
You know who's going to underwhelm if you're looking at the top ranked teams. And world number 9, Belgium. They're not the Belgium from 2018. The finals. Courtois probably doesn't make it. He looks injured at the moment.
But they've got Sid Lamens. He's good now.
Yeah.
Well, who's in front of him? Who's going to protect him? I don't feel good about the squad nowadays. Lukaku, does he even want to play for Napoli, let alone Belgium?
He should have played for Congo, to be honest with you. Where's the Belgian squad?
You look at the squad. Okay, they got Thomas Meunier from Lille, Cody De Winter from Milan, Timothy Castagna from Fulham.
But he's old, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 30.
He's 30. Yeah.
The guys they had from the past, Vertonghen, Vermaelen, they're gone. It's a new crop.
Axel Witsel at 37.
De Bruyne is 34. Tielemans
Tielemans is good though. Tielemans and De Ketelaere are very.
Onana is good. Onana is the new generation, but
he's wishy-washy. He's good, but like very inconsistent.
True.
Yeah. Openda's just pacey.
Yeah.
Trossard does well to track back.
He does.
On the final 30 can be a bit found wanting, frustrating.
But they have a good young player. Mika Götze. He's very good. Yeah, he's very, very good.
Yeah.
And Doku. Yeah. They have Götze and Doku.
Doku, another Ghanaian. Yay.
Yeah.
That one. But that one would have been hard for you to get because he was always good.
It's true. Yeah, we lost on the Dutch.
Like, get good over time.
Yeah, they're gonna figure that out.
Oh, yeah.
But
when I'm looking at the attack, Belgium's attack is decent. Openda, Doku, Lukebakio, Götze, the midfield with Nathan Descartes isn't that good, to be honest. Onana's good, De Ketelaere is good. I love Yuri Tielemans. I think that's a really, really good player. But the defense is terrible. Absolutely shocking. Holy crap. You have that's a good shot. Belgium is actually a very, very good shot, I think.
No, we're just gonna call me, but like, why are you guys suspecting my Belgium again? Well, I'll live. But who else? Like, I don't think Spain's gonna underperform.
No, Spain.
Your England shout is interesting. Your England shout is very interesting, and not just because it could benefit Ghana, but
you guys, here's the thing so that's the reason I remember. You said Ghana plays Panama. Remember, England plays Croatia. Yeah. And the last time England played Croatia beat them in the semifinals.
Yeah.
And the thing that Croatia has is they still have technical midfielders that they struggled against the first time. So if Croatia beats England, early doors, the pressure's on them.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, the English love to think that they're getting closer and closer to winning the World Cup.
Anything, yes.
And they're not that good. I keep trying to. I have bare English friends, and every single one of them, I keep telling them, you're a good nation. You're in the top 6 nations. But if you look at your squad and you look at France's squad, which is better? When you look at your squad, you look at Spain. You look at your squad, you look at Argentina. You notice there's a gap. You have one good player, Kane. That's it. So when I look at your team and I look at England are significantly better. But if they get beat by Croatia, or if they get like stifled, like Croatia is absolutely on their necks and they draw, you guys have a chance.
And I'm not sure if Kane's fully fit, by the way. I feel like he's carrying something, or has been carrying something for a little while. But I wanna offer up a nation that might surprise you guys. Germany. So Germany's 3 games are all at 4 o'clock for some reason. And they have one game in Toronto, one game in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And they also have another game. Oh, an earlier game at 1 o'clock in Houston. Okay, that's indoors, but they're a team that might struggle with the heat.
Yes.
Some of these European teams will not cope with the heat. And we saw it in Qatar as well.
Mm-hmm. They don't have a striker, by the way. Dennis Sundav and Nick Voltemade, both terrible. They're stacked in the midfield. Leonard Carl's amazing. Musiala obviously is amazing. I see Anton Stark on the list, and I'm like, didn't Nagelsmann attack Anton Stark before he joined them? So I'm not sure why he'd still probably go. Like, Stark isn't an issue. But wingers wise, I don't think they've got any decent wingers. I'm trying to think. Sane is old and he's playing in Turkey.
Gnabry starts for them, but
Gnabry's old. It's not rapid.
Yeah.
You need in the World Cup. You need these pace and power people, just absolute rapid individuals. Is there someone? Oh, they have El Mala. Oh, I forgot about. Yeah. Sorry about. Yeah, they do have rapid players. I forgot about El Mala. Bishop isn't that quick. They have Adeyemi. If Adeyemi actually makes a squad, Karim.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But they have a lot of good young talents. Not good enough to win anything, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the group they're in, they've got Ivory Coast, Ecuador. Okay, they should take care of.
They should at least go top 2 easily.
Yeah,
I could see Ivory Coast or even Ecuador giving them some problems. Ecuador is coming along. They have a nice midfield now. And Caicedo. Nkapie, when he's disciplined, can cause problems out wide.
Nkapie is really good. Yeah. And Nkapie can play both center back and left back. So
that's right.
Depending on how you want to play him. They have William Pacho as well, playing amazing at PSG right now. Ecuador's a great squad. Absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't be shocked if you see Germany get out this group third. I genuinely wouldn't be shocked. I rate Ivory Coast a lot. Akwasi can tell you this. I rate the two countries I really rate: Ivory Coast and Senegal. I rate both those. I give them. The only issue I have with Ecuador is their attack. I don't think they've got good strikers.
It's been a little while since they've had an out-and-out guy, but
since Valencia, right?
Right.
That's the last decent striker I remember them having.
But even in saying that, the Ecuador plays Germany the last game, and you know what's happened the last couple of tournaments when Germany's got to that third game.
Yes,
Korea knocked them out. So I could really see them getting punted into third, or maybe even if Curacao figures it out, they could even be knocked out again.
True.
I love that. I would love that. No, actually, it's not an impossible ask, but
it's a listen. Like this isn't impossible. Here's the. Remember when France went to the World Cup in South Africa?
Yeah.
Everybody expected them to win the freaking tournament. They still had all the elite players. They still had Thierry Henry. They still had Anelka and all these guys when they went to the World Cup. They got grouped.
Yeah.
So come on. There's one team here that will suffer. One of them. We just don't know which one it's going to be. And it'll be a good one. It'll be one of Portugal, because Portugal have Martinez as their coach. I don't understand how that guy fails he fails vertically. Yeah, upwards.
Well, I mean, Portugal's going to go as far as how little that Ronaldo plays, to me.
Well, he's going to play every game, so
then.
No, but the problem is they still have the best midfield probably in the world at the moment. So Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes, and João Gomes is still the top central midfield part. Maybe you rate Spain's midfield more than theirs, but at least the top three, like it's still an exceptional team. But Martinez again destroyed the Belgian squad that Nii was talking about a couple minutes ago. He made them look poor when they were excellent, and he's going to do the same thing to Portugal. So, but Portugal's squad is the group they're in. They're definitely going to go through.
But you raise a good point. Is Martinez going to unshackle that midfield? You mentioned Vitinha, Silva, Fernandes. Are those guys going to be allowed to do their thing, or is it guys that were at the tournament we're playing not to lose?
I think the issue with him is he'll play the best players and Ronaldo, and then just go, you guys just figure it out. So it works against teams that just don't have anywhere near that quality. But then as you get to the good nations, like I would say Portugal could actually struggle against like a Senegal, because the stuff that they would do, they'd get overwhelmed. But then once they get to like the really good teams like Spain or whatever, that's when I think they'll just get absolutely destroyed.
So there's another layer here that you've raised, because there's an extra round of matches, extra 90 minutes to play. Ronaldo has hardly played this. I question his match fitness at this point.
100%.
So do they even play him in the group stage, or do they just save him up for the knockout stages?
I think if you're that, you got to give him like the last 30 every game, and then you pump it up. Assuming you win those games, you give him the last 30 the first game, you give him like the last 40, you give him a half the last game, and after that maybe you start him. But that's how I would approach it.
The issue with Ronaldo is he loves stat padding, and he definitely will want to play one of the weaker nations. So in the group, against Curacao, he'll show up. Curaçao's in the same group.
No,
they have DR Congo, Uzbek. That group's not easy.
No,
that's the thing. That group isn't easy.
Uzbekistan will be very frustrating.
Yeah, that Kusanov midfield defense is no jokes.
And this is and then James, this is where he shines at a World Cup or whenever he has a Colombia kit. And then DRC will be physically physical.
Yeah, Tuanzebe is going to deal with Ronaldo if he.
Yes, they circle.
Tuanzebe does he actually still play? What does he play right now?
He scored the winner against Jamaica in the playoff.
Oh yes. I've never watched a game like that with so much.
I was so
happy.
Okay,
I was happy, and I was just also happy it finished, because I'm like, you guys can't keep on getting these offside goals. Just exactly. The game did not deserve penalties, but I digress. But no, like it's not a guarantee that they get out of that group.
Who? Portugal? I think they still have enough quality to beat. Like the issue with Congo, the number of opportunities that they squandered, and let's be honest, Jamaica for large parts of that game were better than them. If Jamaica did that to you, Portugal is going to be insane. because here's the thing. They have excellent defenders, like out-and-out defenders, not attackers. So you have Wan-Bissaka, amazing defender. Masuaku, great defender. Then you have Tuanzebe, who's okay. And Bamba, who's very good. But then their midfield is all over the place. Like, Sadiq is amazing. It feels like this team needs a very exceptional, like, tactician. Someone who understands how to get the best out of them. Because they come from too many different schools of, like, how to attack, how to defend. Like, Wan-Bissaka is a West Ham, which is a more defensive team. Whilst Sadiki, who plays for Sunderland, they play like a hybrid defensive system. Like, they do attack a lot more. But then Wissa plays for a Newcastle team that's all about physicality when he's all about, like, intelligent movement. It's completely, like, broken in how they built the squad. So it's very there's a lot of talent in the squad, but I don't know how it actually meshes together. I've always been a fan of Congo, though, but
yeah.
I
think Portugal will be okay, by the way, but when you look at the fact that the first 2 games were in Houston, they're going to have a strong contingent of fans for them. The Ronaldo effect will definitely be
huge. Because people just go because it's Ronaldo. They don't even watch football. Like, in America especially, there's going to be a lot of people who just go just because it's him.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there were Houston games. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But again, Houston Stadium is grass, but it's also indoor, so you have a little bit more climate control there. But still, it's not like and it's not. Boston will just be straight humid and just straight to the dome. Like,
also New York would also be
New Jersey,
New Jersey,
man. Yeah, well, the ref said 4 minutes, and he kept on going till he scored a goal, and now he's calling the match.
FIFA style.
In CONCACAF, we call that you're playing a Central American side. So the goal has been scored. But man, this has been a good conversation. Nelson, thank you for talking me off a ledge and telling me what my problem is. It's just that I still think I'm good, but I'm not. Thank you. And you know,
you're better than most African nations, but you're shocking.
No, see, but here's the thing.
We're shocking. So it's. Hey. I can say you guys are. I can look at you guys and go, you're a good team, but then in the world stage, you're just meh.
I don't disagree, and I think that's where when people were like asking me, well, what's going on with Ghana? Like, we're the 11th ranked team in Africa. We earned that. Like, how am I supposed to be surprised?
I hate those rankings, by the way. Can we?
I know you. I get why you don't like them, but like, it's par. It's very reflective. They've not been one of the better African sides, and that's.
But I think Ghana is. So it's, as I said, there's Senegal and Morocco that are clear of everybody else, and then it's Ghana, Nigeria.
No, I think you still put Cote d'Ivoire over them. You still put
sorry. Let's
put Algeria over them.
I wouldn't put Algeria.
I would.
Who's in Algeria's squad? Algeria doesn't have a good squad either.
Consistency.
Is it not? Algeria's squad isn't better than Ghana's squad, is it?
Well, they're following the North African steps of recruiting everyone in France. So.
Am I lost? Wait, where's Algeria? I like the way you're going to end the show, but
I know.
Idiot
Israel.
Outside of Pirates, Chaibi. And Adil, the one at Schalke. I can't pronounce his last name. And Guiri at Marseille, who's actually a really good player. Like, that's it. The rest all play in like mid-tier European / Algerian league or North African / Middle East. Like, they don't have a lot of like excellent, like what you would consider excellent players. Well, you have Semenyo, who's excellent, Sulemana, who's excellent, Kudus, who's amazing. You have Thomas Partey, who, let's be honest, we don't talk about why he isn't playing at the top level, but he should be a top level player. He was at Arsenal. Let's remember why they didn't renew the contract. It's not his football. And then you have Salisu, who's decent. If you get Baidu, that's amazing. If you got Hudson-Odoi, that's better. Then Inaki Williams. They don't have an Inaki Williams in their team. Come on. Like, their squad still has Riyad Mahrez. He's 35.
Yeah, that's a squad in transition, like Tunisia. That's a squad that's being
exactly.
They transition their old player. They'll say, Mahrez, you can give us 45. That's it. Now off. Our version of Mahrez says he's a 9 and plays in the wing back space.
But that's why I think Carlos will actually. I actually think that's what Carlos will do. I think he'll take Jordan Ayew because he'll be told by his advisors, "Hey, this is a really good player," and he'll go, "Okay, yeah, I'll take him." And then they'll train, and he'll go, "Nope, he's not playing." And that's exactly what's going to happen.
And that's how it has to be. It needs to be ruthless.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about this is your service for the previous tournaments. This is the here and now. 3 games coming up: Panama, Croatia, England. Who can help me right now?
Yeah. Like, you think he's going to go to Leicester and watch Jordan? You think he's going to go? Is it Leicester getting relegated?
Yeah, Leicester's getting relegated for sure.
Yeah. Come on. Like, he's got 6 goals in 39 games. That's not like someone you're sticking your neck out, in my opinion.
No.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me end this properly by giving you the actual details, which is he's Carlos Queiroz is on a 4-month contract, $100K a month. If they make the quarterfinals, it can renew up to a 2-year deal because then they'll have money to do it. You know what? It would really help if we weren't paying severance packages to coaches that you let go. But that's another story for why we're here. Right. And expect to bring in a full staff, and this will be the 5th team he takes to the World Cup and ran 3 times. Portugal once, and now Ghana there. So 4 months with coach. See if he makes it to the quarterfinals, we can maybe get 2 years of this. But it's more likely to be 4 months of this, and we'll see how it turns out. So we shall wrap it up here. Thank you to everyone who swung by today. We really appreciated you. You're just watching in the shadow. Some of you comments, Steph, we saw your comments. Appreciate it. Nii, at the bottom there, you got PSP Media. You got anything that's been up for you right now that the folks should know about?
Yeah, just make a bookmark for pspmedia.ca. The website is being rebranded and it's coming back. It's coming in hot. So there's some good stuff coming there. Had a good chat to Ryan Olumi when he was in Toronto. So check that out this month. And thank you for listening. Yeah.
Perfect. Nelson, how's the channel coming? What do we have to look forward to there?
Brother, I haven't touched my channel in what, 3 months, 4 months. I'm only here to talk crap about other countries, other nations, other football teams. I've got no skin in the game.
Hey, you guys are hosting AFCON next, or part hosting. So one of you 3 nations.
I will win. I told you that when Kenya does stuff, it does stuff to win. It doesn't do things 50-50. We're not here to mess around.
You're not participants, you're winners. I agree.
Yeah, but until then, I love the conversation, boys. It was nice meeting you, Nii. Please, next time you let me know who's coming, I'll join.
No problem. I'll let you know what the group is. For me, we got a Canadian panel for what the 26th will look like, possibly. After that, that'll get recorded this week for sure, and then we'll kind of move from there. But then also other things. Oh, also Nelson, what do you mean you don't have no skin in the game? Your women are getting ready to make the World Cup. What are you talking about? You got skin in the game.
The Kenyan.
Yeah, the Kenyan women team. they play? Yeah.
No. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know this. That's wonderful news. I'll start checking them out. That's great. If they don't win, why did they go? That'd be my question. But
fair point.
You know what? I'm actually happy that they'll be there. I didn't know that. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah. It was gonna be finishing just now, but due for unforeseen circumstances, and I'm legally required to let you know that Morocco are 3-0 winners of AFCON 2026 due to legal purposes. But yeah, Kenya is in the group with Algeria, Senegal, and Morocco, which only top 2 move on. Based off how they looked, I think they can get Algeria, and then it's them and Senegal. Truly.
Holy crap, the Kenyan women's team. Okay, we got beat by Morocco 5-1. But it's in Tangier. Yeah. We know how they don't pass out towels. So when
keepsakes.
They've actually done well. So hey, I'll actually check them out. They play Australia. We'll thrash those. And then
it will be the opposite, but yes. Keep it low.
No. Yes. Dude, I'll hand out red cards and everything. We'll figure it out. I've got connections. Cast. We'll figure it out.
Very true. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks again for everyone here on the rewatch, or if you're listening to this on podcast form. Fun fact: I am blowing up in Vietnam this month. I don't know what I said, but I am blowing up in Vietnam.
Yeah, big dong.
I'm a big fan of pho. So
truly, I am as well. Good fan of it. But yeah, we'll wrap it up here, guys. Thanks for being here, and we'll be here when we're live next. So keep those notifications on, subscribe, and all the fun stuff.